Okay. Ready?
I'm great.
All right.
Can you all hear me? Okay, good afternoon.
All right. Before we start to talk about some big issues, can you start by telling us about yourself and why you want to be governor?
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kevin Kamenetz. I'm the Baltimore County Executive. Thank you. I'm a lifelong Marylander, and I'm a lifelong Democrat. Jill and I are raising our 2 teenage sons in Baltimore County, and I'm running for governor because I think of what Marylanders are concerned about when they wake up each day. Is my family healthy? Can I provide for them? Are my kids safe? And do they have opportunities to succeed? And then I look around and I see Larry Hogan, who as governor is gutting education. In his first 2 years, he cut $110 million of funding out of the education budget. And that was money in Baltimore County that we were going to use to supplement funds for ESOL teachers and special ed teachers. And that really hurt us. I see a governor who wants to privatize public schools, who, following this Betsy DeVos, Donald Trump mantra, wants to publicly fund 2 publicly funded school systems, one for the haves and one for the have-nots. We can't do that. I see a governor who is politicizing education so much that respected members of his own school board and his own school construction chief resigned in protest. Is it any wonder that he has dismissed teachers as union thugs?
Yay!
I'm proud to see a room full of union thugs. We need a governor like me, who is a tell-it-like-it-is guy, who's going to stand up for Maryland values, who's going to roll up their sleeves and do the hard work to get things done, and who has a track record of real results. That's the type of leader I've been as county executive, and that's who I'll be as governor. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, what is your vision for public education? How will you prioritize your education initiatives in light of the work of the Kirwan Commission and their expected recommendations later this year?
Well, Betty, right before I walked in here, I saw none other than Britt Kirwan walking in as well, and I'm glad that he's attending this convention because this is important that we have this opportunity for dialogue here. But let me first tell you something about Baltimore County school system. We are the 26th largest school system in the country. We are majority minority. We have 40% reporting as farm students. We have children from 105 different countries, and 5% of our students don't speak a word of English. And they speak Farsi and Swahili. I mean, it's a real challenge for our educators. And yet, we have some of the highest performing schools in the country. And I am so proud of our Baltimore County educators. We have a rising graduation rate every single year I've been in office. We're approaching 90%, exceeding the state average. And importantly, in Baltimore County, there is no disparity in the graduation rate between black and white students. A tremendous accomplishment. You're hearing from the candidates, and they offer you a lot of promises. My suggestion is that you learn the most based upon someone's track record. And my track record as county executive has been to prioritize public school education. I initiated the largest single school construction program in the history of Baltimore County. We are building or rebuilding 90 schools. taking kids out of trailers and putting them into modern learning environments for our kids, for our teachers, and our support staff. It's a $1.3 billion initiative, and get this, for every $1 I've gotten from the state, I've put 2 county tax dollars in, because there's not sufficient state funding for school construction. I actually had to forward fund $166 million of state share for this current fiscal year. But it's my priority. I've also prioritized taking care of our educators, and I know they deserve to be compensated properly. I took office in December 2010, and every single year, even during the worst of our recession, every single county employee got every step and every longevity increase. When times got better, I made sure that our employees got a 9% COLA in the last 4 years, and get this, our certificated personnel in the last 4 years got an 11% COLA. I also work closely with TABCO, who, by the way, has endorsed me in every one of my elections, 4 terms as county council, 2 terms as executive. I work with TABCO to lower the agency fee from 80% to 72%, because everyone needs to pay their fair share for representation. We need to establish priorities statewide. First of all, we need to return governance of schools back to the local boards. I will not make appointments to the state board without consultation with MSEA. I will not appoint people who want to privatize public schools. I will make sure that we have advocates both on the state and local school board level who understand what it's like to be inside of a classroom and the challenges that we're facing. Look at what you've got now. You got a governor who ignores the professionals, and he overrules every single local school board and dictates that schools shall start after Labor Day, not because he's listened to the experts who talk about what the educational needs of children are, but he did it to sell more funnel cakes right here in Ocean City. I mean, if you think about this, the calendar pressures are only going to get worse. You see now the taking away of professional development days. You're going to see spring break turn into spring weekend. And you're going to see the lack of opportunities to focus on the needs of educators and support staff. I'm going to end this begathon too, this silliness where he's politicizing the school construction process and demeaning professional educators. But we have a lot of work to do. We have to focus on the needs of our schools today, and we know there are so many non-academic pressures that are affecting our children's success. The state needs to be taking the lead for funding of mental health professionals, psychologists, counselors, social workers, paraeducators. We have to have the finest community school program in the nation that leads the way to help our neediest kids and take some of the pressure off of our educators. This should be our funding priority from the state, and this is what we need to take out of in the Kerwin Commission, in addition to equitable funding. So I will just conclude by letting you know that you've heard from folks, and they'll tell you that they're the education candidate. We need a fierce advocate for education, but you have to look at someone who's actually produced real results. When you look at my record and my experience, and my passion for education, I will be Maryland's education governor. Thank you so much.
We have 20 seconds if you want to quickly pick a question. Here, I'll read it.
You have to read it fast.
I will. I promise. 10 seconds. Personally or professionally, what is your proudest accomplishment?
Doing my best to be a loving father, husband, and human being.
Okay. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you all for your passion for our kids.